Hey there, my name is Dr. Nought, and here, let's jump back in. We're right where we are in Nsenga. We're going to Lusaka, and it's becoming nighttime. Okay, this is 80 days if you haven't got that from the title yet. We are going to leave. Let's check the market quickly. Oh yeah, we've already done this. Boink. Okay. Hotel. Gain some health, dude, because you're gonna lose 39 of it. As night fell, we should probably attend to Monsieur Fogg. There you go, that's better. Proving him with fresh clothing. Providing him, too. Proving and providing him with fresh clothing. So we could stay multiple days at one spot to gain health back. Well, this is gonna be taxing. Baking sunshine, sweltering heat, and dusty roads. It only takes 2 suitcases, of which we only have 2. Thandi's car. Oh god. Thandi and Chibesa proved to be easy enough to find, but Thandi was half drunk, and Chibesa gave Monsieur Fogg a look as though he meant to pledge his eternal love upon the instant. But then again, it could very well have been a mild case of indigestion. Difficult to tell upon short acquaintance. And why, Thandi slurred, knocking her tightly woven braids away from her face, do you want to get into the Federation? We're paying you to take us, I sniffed, rather failingly in my social obligations to a lady, not to pry into our business. Thandi exchanged a dark look with her compatriot, but asked no further questions. I commended myself to fate, for surely these 2 reprobates were not going to be of much use. Alright, let's see what happens here. Doctor Livingstone's still missing. Hope's fade. Oh, he hasn't been found yet? I guess... My timeline, I'm not sure. We traveled by car, though its coal gas-powered engine had been ripped out and replaced by a sleek basalt-fueled system. We made good time across the flat plateau. I smelled something familiar and took a deep breath. I was rewarded with the distinct whiff of gunpowder. Thandi and Chibesa were not simply thrill-seekers, but gun smugglers, importing forbidden European weapons into the Zulu Federation. Still, perhaps that meant that they were reasonably competent? They hadn't been caught, after all. The thought did not comfort me, as it should have. Either way, it seemed a good opportunity. Smuggle a rifle into our own suitcase? Okay. We're just stealing from them? That's probably not the smartest thing. Let's tend to him. There you go. We reached the border today. Thandi sobered up enough to cover the car with a murky yellow and green cloth. Be very quiet, she advised. What are we looking out for? I asked nervously. Chibesa muttered some invocation to the ancestors. If you look upon them, then it is already too late. Thandi drove excruciatingly slow, darting from brush to scrub. The planes that had given us such an easy ride now gave us little cover. Chibesa hefted a rifle and scanned the skies. I helped Thandi navigate, pointing out likely hiding spots. I glanced towards the scraggly copse of trees in the middle distance and spotted an odd glint against the sun-drenched backdrop. I pointed it out to Chibesa and Thandi, who shared a look of utter terror. Thandi swerved the car impossibly and tore back towards the border. We found our path blocked. Oh, crap. An enormous ivory and wood automaton, the shape of a rhinoceros, pawed the dirt, steam pouring from its horns. I leveled my gun, but Thandi pushed the barrel down. Don't bother, she said. There's a whole wilderness of them, and they all know where we are. A flock of bird automata darkened the sky, their own diamond hearts glittering like polished arrows. There was no escape. Oh, we're not even going to Lusaka. Where? Uh-oh. The flock of birds interwove their wings with each other, seized the bonnet of the car with their claws, and launched us vertiginously into the air. The grassland beneath us wavered as they bore us south. Where are they taking us? I asked with the smugglers. It was Thandi who answered, voice cracking, to Ulundi, Emporer Cetshwayo's capital. One of the birds of prey turned its head in our direction, as if listening to the sound of our conversation. Can it understand us? Thandi wiped her sweaty palms on her thighs reflexively. Worse, she whispered. He can. I looked at the smugglers' huddled forms and demanded answers, but the fear had taken them, and they had little more to offer. You feel below par? Fine, there you go, you feel better? I wish not. I could not wish for a superior valet. Let's go, buddy. We're gonna get into some trouble here. Game of canasta? Are you joking? At least, Monsieur Fogg said, a sudden and unexpected source of optimism. We are making good time. I nodded, and tried to rest, in full knowledge that the worst of our ill-omened journey was yet to come. At least our relationship strengthening. We can explore here? I thought we were, like, captive. We were escorted to an impromptu audience with Emperor Cetshwayo with prudential rapidity. And, of course, I greeted him with courtesy, bowing with a courtly flourish that would not have been out of place in Versailles. After all, magic or no, he was the most powerful man for 1,000 miles, liege lord of the half-dozen states and kingdoms which comprise the Zulu Federation, and a warrior in his own right. Greetings, he returned. Thandi and Chibesa were dealt with rapidly and dismissed. The affair conducted in isiZulu and therefore incomprehensible. From the looks on their faces, however, I do not think they were going to their deaths. That's good. The Emperor then turned his eye to us. You are not smugglers, he said in English, only mildly flavored by Dutch vowels. So, what are you? We are travelers, your Imperial Majesty. I glanced at my master, who looked tight-lipped at my presumption. We seek passage through your lands. There are ships from Quarlemane to Bloemfontein, he replied. You did not need to set a single foot in my land. We did not realize, I replied. Had you not tried to slip across my border, you would have known. Pausing to wave away a fly, he smiled. You have come to see me, I think. Why is that? You are spies for your country? We are looking for the fastest way around the world, I replied, my voice shivering. Around the world? The Emperor echoed with evident curiosity. He span a finger in the air. All the way around? Indeed so, your Majesty. He seemed delighted by the idea. Very good. I suppose it could be done. This is how far you have got? We hope to make good progress from here, I replied. Cetshwayo nodded, his tone shifting a little. An interesting tale. Quite suddenly, a bright light was shining into my face. I waited motionless, understanding that I was being tested. The light came from the eye of a bird of prey automaton. It hovered just before my face for perhaps a minute, and it wheeled back to the dais to perch on Emperor Cetshwayo's shoulder. It seemed to speak into the Emperor's ear. He nodded. I waited for the verdict. Becca says you are telling the truth, Cetshwayo announced. Had the bird said any such thing? It was impossible to tell, but if so, I was grateful to have had its favor. Emperor Cetshwayo fixed me with a look. You look to me, he said, like nothing so much as a performing monkey. Tell me, what is your purpose? He pointed to my master. You carry his bags and fasten his buttons? I attend to his person. But this man is your equal. I am paid for my work. The Emperor thought a moment and shook his head. I have heard of this personal service before, of course, but I still do not understand it. Be a slave, a subject, or be free. I am quite free. I should not complain of your vanities, he said at length. It is what will make your people easy to defeat in the end, despite your iron and your guns. We're not gonna get into war here. I shuddered at his ominous prophecy. The Emperor had impressed his will on the African chieftains and princes, and defeated the British and pushed back the French and Portuguese. But did he believe himself capable of conquering the world? Had he some secret weapon that might make such a venture remotely possible? I will show you something. The Emperor led us out into an enclosure behind the main chamber. At first it was quiet, and then, one by one, diamond-hearted automata began to emerge, in the shape of slant-eyed polecats. Honey badgers. Oh boy. grinning jackals, and even little darting lizards. All were fluttering and slinking and pacing around. He turned to look at me, and every single automaton turned its head in unison with him. "Please," he gestured, "try to run." I stood still, hoping inaction would give me the best chance for reaction. But my response, however quick, did no good. In a single moment, 100 creatures of metal and glass were upon me, talons and claws raised, beaks poised to strike at my eyes and flesh. I heard my master call out, and I raised my hands to try to cover myself. And as one, every creature froze in place. The Emperor laughed, and I understood then that he truly had some kind of terrible power. I could imagine such an army of creatures, or warriors, or mere animate weaponry sweeping around the landscape. But Cetshwayo was not done with us yet. Leaning forward, he removed his headband and inclined his face to the right. On the side of his head, I saw an incision mark, and the glittering edge of a diamond automaton shard embedded deep in his brain? "What have you done to yourself?" I asked in grudging fascination. Emperor Cetshwayo ignored my question and said only, "I show you this as a warning. Tell your princes and kings. Tell your eager tradesmen and grasping missionaries. Tell them I protect this land, and I will drink their blood if they try to take it." I remembered his message, word for word, knowing I would deliver it through chattering teeth whether I wished to or not. In a way, his embedded shard now also controlled me. Then, the moment passed. The Emperor glanced up at an enormous airship far above us and immediately began to descend towards us. "Now," the Emperor declared, "where do you wish to go on your journey around the world?" "Wherever is fastest. The ship will take you to the southern reaches of my land." "Perfect." And that was the last he said to us. We boarded the craft and it began to make ready to lift into the air. "Why are you mad, Fogg?" Let's go. Sea monster has been spotted off the coast of Africa. Okay, let's go. Cetshwayo's airship. Oh, we missed Blomfontein. It was only a few hours' journey from Ulundi to Bai, but I was unsettled by the thought that Emperor Cetshwayo could hear and sense through the airship. I took to treading very lightly and practiced a great deal of discretion in my speech just in case. Yeah, we're gonna... Monsieur Fogg, you look pretty worn down. Little automata lizards and polecats roamed the decks, proving an utter plague to Monsieur Fogg. The polecats took great pleasure in shredding my master's papers with their ivory claws, and shed their beads into his lap. I think perhaps Emperor Cetshwayo is enacting a petty revenge via his intermediaries, Passepartout, Monsieur Fogg commented. I said nothing. I was too busy taking one of the creatures apart. What? Hoping to salvage some diamond shards that might be valuable. Having opened the ribcage of one of the polecats extracted from my master's paperwork, I felt a sudden lurch in the airship. Quickly, I tried to repair the creature, but in the circumstances, a strange airship dropping and bouncing in the air, I was all thumbs. Eventually, I gave up and tossed the mangled creature overboard. The airship settled, but the other creatures turned towards me with darker eyes. Oh my god, we're an idiot. We tethered at the port of Bai in one piece, kept aloft by the mind of the Emperor and favorable winds. Alright, what do we got here? Ooh, nice, look at this. Well, we might get to Singapore if I have to head up north. We should probably grab some iron ore, that's cheap. Heavy as hell, too, probably. Oh, Desert Traveler? Okay, thanks for that. Desert Traveler, Desert Traveler. These are both pretty cheap. Might as well grab it. Machete, Jungle. Oh, okay, why not? Let's not grab that, but there you go. That mask is truly horrifying. Please put it away. Get some rest, dude. You are worse for wear. Bai was the kingdom of Basuto's only port city. Before the establishment of the Zulu Federation, it had been British port of Port Elizabeth, but it had been thoroughly reconquered upwards of 20 years ago. Sotho women were brightly woven blanket dresses, and warriors in traditional clothing strode the gaslit streets. The sailors, traders, and foreigners all roiled along the seafront. The same gossip was on all lips. The sea monster had been spotted off Algoa Bay, and the Tokoloho was going to give chase. The sea monster? I asked, eagerly, keen to hear such tales of adventure. And my friends, what a tale! Monsieur Mathomo, Monsieur Mathomo, the local tavern keeper, was only too eager to explain. The last 3 months, a vast monstrous creature has stalked the coast. It devours trade ships and military ships all alike. Its hunger is not slaked by blood or ivory. Have you seen it yourself? I asked, and Monsieur Mathomo shook his head. No one has ever been attacked by the monster and lived, but many of us have seen its dark shape writhing in the water. One of the younger sailors, a green-eyed, dark-skinned Griqua boy, shuddered into his mug. I made eye contact with him. The Basias are crazy for hunting the monster, he muttered, with a glance towards a primly dressed couple at a table by themselves. I caught the eye of the laughing-eyed man, who waved me over and pulled up a chair. I am Thabiso Basia, and this is my wife, Nthatisi. He gave me an assessing look. Do you wish to hunt monsters? Is that an offer? I raised one eyebrow. They looked at each other for a moment. You will do, Nthatisi said to her husband at length. Thabiso nodded and turned to me. We are taking our submersible to St. Denis in Reunion, and along the way we will hunt the monster that lurks beneath the waters. He gave me a wild grin. We are in need of a crew if you are up for the challenge. How long does the journey take? I asked practically. Oh, a willing worker, I see, the woman laughed. 4 days, Thabiso replied. Depending on what we find, we will be at the docks. You cannot miss us. The young Griqua sailor crossed himself as the couple left the bar. I followed their example and returned to Monsieur Fogg. A submersible, you say? Monsieur Fogg turned sharply. How very intriguing. I admit, I was rather discomfited by his calculating expression, and spent an uncomfortable night, full of dreams of black water and serrated teeth. Oh, we're doing it. We're doing it. We'll see if we can make it to Reunion, St. Denis. When do they go, though? What? Departs at 10 a.m. We can't do this. This guy's gonna die. Oh my god, look at this. Plus 40. That is incredibly lucky. Let's go. We found the Basias by the dock. They shook Monsieur Fogg's hand, each in turn. Well, gentlemen, said Madame Basia, are you ready to find a monster? I rubbed my hands, much to Monsieur Fogg's annoyance. Let us see what we will see. We clambered across the roof of the submersible and then climbed into its wooden belly. Wooden? Okay. We're gonna just comb his hair the whole way because he's gonna probably perish. The Takaloho was a sleek submersible made of treated wood and jointed with iron. It was powered by peroxide propulsion and steam. Interesting. The Basias assured me that the chemical process would release plenty of oxygen, so we would not suffocate underwater. But we may still be eaten, I remarked ominously. Monsieur Fogg gave me a cutting look. This is hardly the time for such childish misgivings, Passepartout, he said firmly. This is a marvel of engineering. I was surprised to hear his praise. The master was not usually given to such effusive commentary. No doubt, he found the submersible's design pleasingly efficient. A dull alarm signaled that we were about to submerge. I hurried to my post under Captain Nthatisi and left Monsieur Fogg to valet himself. Taking deep, even breaths, I tried not to think of the mass of dark water surrounding the thin-skinned Tokoloho. What, you had to go buckle in your own seatbelts, now you're getting mad? Oh my gosh. Yep. A round of canasta? Sure, buddy. You know when to play canasta. Monsieur Thabiso revealed himself to be not only a marine biologist of some renown, but also ship's cook. I am a man of many talents, including monster hunting. I added sharply, how does a man of science come to be upon such a mission? It is because I am a man of science that I am here to study this creature by royal command. He smiled briefly. The Tokoloho was built for Emporer Cetshwayo. He has lost many men, and much trade to this monster, if that is indeed what it is. You know the Emperor? I exclaimed. Tell me truly, what sort of man is he? Monsieur Thabiso's expression grew grave. What sort of man is any Emperor? He asked softly. To judge such a man is outside the limits of my expertise. With that, he lapsed into silence. Did not speak again for the length of our meal. Awkward. Instead of conversing, I'm just going to do this so that we can, once we hit reunion, we might have to go underwater some more, so we need it to be at as much health as possible. After my initial apprehensions had worn away, I found traveling aboard the Tokoloho more congenial than a steamship, despite the trembling and groaning of the hull. The submersible was surprisingly steady in the water, navigating currents slowly but smoothly. No doubt it also reflected the captain's skill. Halfway there, and no sign of the beast, Monsieur Thabiso announced at dinner. Are you disappointed? I asked. I would think not. Surely you wish to conduct your examination with speed. Captain Nthatisi smiled around at us. We do not find the beast this time. We will simply keep hunting. Her smile brightened as she caught her husband's eye. But I am not adverse to a quiet journey, this time. Don't worry, buddy. Here, let me just comb your hair. I'm glad you feel well cared for. Well cared for, is what I'm trying to say. I was marking the reading from the pressure gauge in the logbook when the Tokoloho shuddered. The eerily white light shone through the portholes of the bridge, blinding me. Then I was flung into the bulkhead. I tried to stand and felt something soft under my feet. It was the arm of one of the other crew members. I could not feel her breath. The back of her head was sticky with blood. Then, as though in a nightmare, I heard a grating, splintering sound. It was the sound of the hull tearing open. It is the beast, Captain Nthatisi said in a remarkably calm voice. We must either vent steam to propel us away or try to harpoon it. Passepartout, you must help. Why can't you do it? I shouted. I am pinned by wreckage, Passepartout. I cannot feel anything below my neck. Oh, that's like everything, she continued in that same calm voice. Jacob cannot stop weeping, and Labi does not answer. You must do something. The white blinding light flashed again, and I reached for the harpoon lever. The captain explained to me how to aim and fire it, for all the good it did. I released the harpoon blindly and felt the submersible roll slightly. Had I hit the monster? I had no idea. I heard only a dull clang. The monster opened its great maw and swallowed the Tokoloho whole. Whoops, there goes Saint... Oh no. Did not awake in the belly of the sea monster, but to a scene altogether more unbelievable. I was lying on a silk-upholstered divan in a beautifully appointed grand salon. That's supposed to rhyme? So this, I thought, is what heaven looks like. The cushions were most supple, and the light pitched to be comfortable, but not murky. I half expected the sound of harps. I sat up, trying and failing to stifle a moan at the various sharp pains and aches that ran through my body. Ah, you are awake, Monsieur Thabiso. Looking remarkably clean and pressed for a drowned man, held a cup of water to my lips. I drank gratefully, and felt some of the dizziness in my head recede as the liquid revived me. Welcome. You are aboard the Nautilus. Oh, hell no, said an unfamiliar male voice from across the room. You know where we are? Or who we're with, rather? I could not make out his features, but he held himself very straight. You are my guest. Sleep now, my friend. you are safe in my care. 10,000 leagues under the sea or something like that? 20,000? Some number of leagues under the sea? As though his words were a charm of some sort, and despite all the questions bubbling to my lips, I fell into a deep and dreamless slumber. That was no surprise, for no dream could match the strangeness of my adventure under the sea. The Nautilus. Oh man, where are we going? Yes, we'll play Canasta on the Nautilus. I was properly introduced to Captain Nemo in the Grand Salon after I had bathed and shaved. It was a cozy scene. Nemo and Monsieur Thabiso were debating some scientific principle with obvious enjoyment. Nthatisi was sipping a cup of foul-smelling tea. Is the Nautilus the sea monster? I asked her. Nthatisi's lips twisted wryly. It would appear so. Captain Nemo turned toward us. I am sorry for our unpleasant meeting, he said, with every sign of sincerity. I hope it will not prejudice you too greatly. What is this ship? I asked, gesturing around the salon. I've never seen anything like it. Of that I have little doubt, he exclaimed. The Nautilus is a haven, beyond the reach of any of the iniquitous governments of the land. Here, 30 feet below the sea, their dominion vanishes. Here I recognize no master. Here I am free. Why did you rescue us? I stood, though my knees shook. Why not let us drown? I am not a monster, though you may think me so. I do not relish death. I only wish to preserve my freedom. Captain Nemo looked each one of us in the eye regally, his expression resigned. That is the reason, friend, that you may never leave this Nautilus. What? I cannot let you go. I will offer you instead a new life under the ocean waves. I hope you can accept that. That, he swept away, leaving us to gape at each other in shock. Yeah, is this the guy, 20,000 leagues under the sea? Is that Captain Nemo? I think it is, isn't it? And the Nautilus? Okay, there goes our, okay, all I can do is this. So, where are we going? Captain Nemo left us to our own devices today, perhaps sensing that we needed time to absorb the import of his words. Monsieur Fogg was uncharacteristically perturbed. This is, he said softly, a circumstance I failed to anticipate. It is a decidedly odd one, I agreed. I should have been quite disturbed if you had anticipated such a turn-up, Monsieur. Monsieur Thabiso sighed gustily and seemed to shake himself. I suppose we must escape this wondrous ship, he said, not sounding particularly enthused, but we should pretend acceptance until our chance comes. And so we became prisoners of Captain Nemo's impeccable, demented hospitality. I'm gonna just keep doing this, because first off, we're going the longest route through the Indian Ocean, and I think once we escape, we're gonna have to bolt. I should perhaps pause in my tale to tell you a little more of the Nautilus itself. The ship was as strange and magnificent as any of the underwater sights that could be viewed from the windows of the Grand Salon. It was 20 times the size of the Tokoloho, at least, and infinitely more grand. It was as well appointed as a luxury hotel or a cruise liner. Had Nemo been a different man, this ship would have been a commercial wonder. There were 30-odd crewmen, all of whom seemed fiercely devoted to their strange captain. They expressed no wish to ever set foot on land again, but seemed content in the way of men who have little hope left in them. How the engines were powered, I do not know. The ship ran cool and silent. Captain Nemo refused to reveal anything on the subject. But for all its wonders, I could only think of escape, and found myself time and again looking for lifeboats, hatches, and ways out. In the morning, I helped repair the Tokoloho, that's probably the better option than putting on a diving suit, with Nthatisi. Nemo seemed pleased to see us engaged in a task, and not wallowing in self-pity over our captivity. This will be our way out, Passepartout, she whispered to me. The Tokoloho is injured, but she will swim, and we will swim away with her. I nodded. It was hope, and I was happy to have it. I could scarcely bring myself to join in the others' conversation at our late lunch. My heart was too full, and I felt my tongue would betray me. At least maybe we can get him up into like the 60s or 70s before we're off this thing. One of the crewmen had donned a diving suit and was polishing the outside of the windows of the Grand Salon when a vast purple-black tentacle reached out from the murk and snatched him away. Okay, that was unexpected. The ship erupted into action. Alarms sounded. Everything changed. What was that? I demanded, chilled to the core. I had thought the Nautilus was the sea monster. The vast creature that now returned to wrap its tentacles around the ship was something out of a madman's nightmare. Nthatisi, as ever, was icy calm. This is our chance, she hissed. Passepartout, you must steal the navigational logs from the bridge and meet us at the Tokoloho in the cargo bay. Yes, Captain. I sketched her the semblance of a salute and ran to the bridge, leaving my master with instructions to gather our baggage from the cabin. Captain Nemo was giving orders to his crewmen with calm fury. They were responding quickly, and in other circumstances I would have admired his grit. I demanded the logs boldly, deciding that a stealthy pilfering of them was all but impossible in the crowded bridge. Passepartout, he said repressively, so you will use the deaths of my crew to make your escape, rather than help me prevent further casualties. How very practical of you. I felt a hot flush of shame at his words, but did not waver from my task. I want the logs, Captain Nemo. And why should I give them to you? He demanded, as the Nautilus heaved and shuddered. In the distance, I heard a scream which was abruptly silenced, and the hiss of iron splintering. Because we value our freedom, as you do yours, I said, scoring a direct hit. Let us have it with honor. Yes, honor is important. I have fought to keep it, and I don't mean to lose it now. He nodded decisively, and in that movement, Wandu, I saw he truly intended to die on his ship. Captain Nemo tossed me the navigational logs and dismissed me from his attention. I ran every step to the forward cargo bay. Monsieur Thabiso pulled me aboard in the Tokoloho and sealed the hatch behind me. Nthatisi opened the cargo bay and launched the limping submersible into the open ocean. We had escaped. Where are we going? I must have collapsed under Monsieur Thabiso's... Oh, sorry. I must have collapsed after Monsieur Thabiso pulled me on board. I can remember little of our flight from the Nautilus, though Monsieur Fogg told me that Captain Nthatisi had performed miracles to get us away from the giant squid and her would-be prey. You have the logs, she demanded when I saw her. I handed them to her, and she perused them with a frightening intensity until a smile lit her face. We are near the Dutch-held city of Batavia, perhaps only a few hours' journey, at most a day. Holy crap, we're already on day 35? Batavia. Let's make him feel better. And do it again. And do it again. Because we're gonna be ready to get out of here ASAP. The engines wheezed and rumbled and the submersible listed terribly because of its various wounds, but made it to the Bay of Jakarta. Holy crap, we're already in, like, Indonesia? Under the captain's steady hand, and surfaced near an unused dock. This is where we part, Monsieur Thabiso said shakily. We cannot be seen here. The Dutch are not our Emperor's allies. Thank you both for everything, I bowed and felt the gesture utterly inadequate for my gratitude. Nthatisi smiled. You are welcome. I am proud to call you both crewmen. And, Thabiso added, say nothing of the Nautilus. If not for Captain Nemo's sake, then for mine. I would wish him free. I would also, I agreed. The glance at Monsieur Fogg, whose expression was studiously blank. When he handed me something, or then he handed me something, a curiously worked piece of coral. A souvenir of our little adventure together, something I was curious about aboard the Nautilus. Perhaps you will figure it out. Thank you. I hope it brings you luck. It did not for our Captain Nemo. True enough. Good fortune to you both, Nthatisi called, as we set our bags on the dock. Then the Tokoloho's hatch slammed shut, She submerged beneath the waves and was gone. We made it to Batavia. Anything Bust of Apollo. Wait, okay, there we go. Holy crap. Where is that place? I don't know why this is yellow here, but... Magnetic compass. Part of the heavy storm set. Part of the American wardrobe. Well, we're gonna head to America, right? Oh crap. Oh my god, look how much it's worth in San Francisco. But we have a fourth thing here, so let's just use it. Just buy everything! The heart of Verhevenstad, the exalted city of Batavia, is a floating fort of gigantic iron struts built over the swamplands of Kali Besar and overlooking the Sunda Kalapa harbor. Dutch hotels and Chinese settlements dotted the Buddhist shrines, pushed themselves up in the shadow of the walls, hemmed in by the sprawling, unplanned Javanese kampongs. We took a room at the Hotel des Indes, a fairly comfortable establishment overlooking the water, where I watched a captain preparing his boat, the Spicy Jake, for passage to Singapore. A perfect place to rest. Through the window we heard the sounds of an unrestful city long into the night. Yeah, we could go to Singapore. I know it's a little north, but that's the only way we have. So let's explore. There we go. Where else can we go? What is that, Manila? Yep. Oh, not there. Brisbane and Auckland. I hailed a I went out on foot. I had only gone a few hundred meters when an explosion rocked the city, knocking me to the ground. I tried to get a better view, but it was unclear what had happened. A pillar of smoke was rising from somewhere to the north, and all around, people were moving in panic. Then as the dust cleared, I saw the exalted city was now leaning. One of its great supports had been blown away. This was an attack that would not be ignored. I resolved to ensure we left the city as soon as possible. Holy moly. Arrives Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, and it's Friday presently. Departs tomorrow, departs tomorrow, departs tomorrow. Alright, well this is perfect. Perfect place to stop because it's still the morning. And we will, I don't know where we're gonna go next. We'll see where we wanna go. Maybe Australia. We haven't been to Australia at all, and I feel like if we go up to Manila, we are going to get stuck in the Northern Hemisphere again. So we're gonna stay Southern Hemisphere and see how we can get across the Pacific from Australia and New Zealand. Okay, so I think right now I'm leaning towards Australia. So, thank you for watching. Day 39, and this is 80 days, and we will continue next time. So, I will see you then. Take care, and goodbye.